Hey, 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 welcome to Games Vitae. My name is Mod J, and today is the first day of the school year. That's right, summer break is over, and it's time to report what games we played over the summer break. And as I started to collect all the games to show in this video that I and my family have played, I was kind of overwhelmed by how many games we actually got played. I was really lucky that we had such a game filled summer, along with a lot of other activities. So it's nice to have a balance, but it's also nice to get some of these games played. So without further ado, before we get going, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so that you know when these videos are coming up and help support the channel. All right, well, first thing, let's get on to some of the games that I can't remember if I myself played because I was like doing something else at the time or something, but I know made it to the table for my family. First one is Suspicion. This is a very underrated game. It's a simple game, pawn movement and line of sight, some set collection, and hidden identity deduction. It's like I said, it's a hidden gem. It's a great game to play. Maybe stays a little long on the table, but I'm fine with it. It probably doesn't make it to the table enough. So anyway, that's Suspicion. Some other ones. Sorry, just bumped the camera. Some other ones that I didn't get to play is classic Settlers of Catan, and yeah, I mean, what can you say about Settlers of Catan? It's been around for quite a long time. It's still in my collection, and I still enjoy it enough to keep it in my collection. So, yeah, if you don't know Settlers of Catan, it's resource management, a little bit of area control. Well, maybe somebody'd say a lot of area control, route building, and basically points. Whoever gets the most points wins. So anyway, that's Settlers of Catan. Another one, I can't actually find the box and the games for some of these. So this is Coup. This is actually the expansion, but Coup is a nice little bluffing social deduction game. The last, King of the Hill, last one standing type game. It's just a classic game. Spot It. Spot It is probably the ultimate filler, ultimate travel game. And we played Spot It many times over the summer holidays. So, one game that I myself played because it's a solo game, I don't own many solo only games, is IO. It's a very interesting game. It's where you have this stack of weapons cards and it's a boss battler. And there's 4 rows of bosses. And depending on what cards you play, there's a symbol in the upper left-hand corner, I think, that shows you what enemies it can attack, which row it can attack. And you can rotate the card or rotate how it attacks if you discard cards. And when as your deck goes down, the more I've only played it a couple times, but the more serious it gets, and the harder it gets, and you have to defeat all your enemies to win the game. But at the same time, and there's some other things. Like I said, I haven't played it enough to really give you a good review or introduction to this game. But it's a very clever little game, and it's a solitaire style game. I think you can play it 2 players, but I haven't. I introduced it to my daughter, who did play it also, and I think she liked it. The art is beautiful. The art is really beautiful. But IO it's a great little game. Let's see what else. Where to start is the question. We played a round of Sushi Go Party, and it's again, this is a game that's been around for a while. If you don't have Sushi Go, I highly recommend you get Sushi Go. Sushi Go Party specifically. Sushi Go Party gives you a lot more versatility and replayability than the standard base game you'd get out of the box store. So Sushi Go Party is where it's at. It's a set collection game, such that you draft a card and then you pass your hand to the person to your left, and then you get a new hand and you pick a card out of that, hoping that you'll get different sets that give you different amounts of points depending on what you're collecting. So if you're after a high point value set, well, chances are somebody else is in the group is also after that high point value set, and the cards aren't unlimited, and some cards aren't even dealt in that hand because you've got a deck of cards that you deal out so many, and there's always a little bit left that wasn't dealt out. So that what you need might not even, be there or enough for everybody to get. So Sushi Party Go is just it's one of those games kind of like Settlers of Catan. It's not leaving my collection because we really enjoy playing it. Next we have Tokaido. Tokaido is one that I got over Christmas, and we've played it a few times with family, with extended family. I was introduced to it by a friend. But anyway, Tokaido is a nice little worker placement set collection type game that it's just a very easy game to table because it's easy to play. But it's not so easy that I've gotten tired of it. I could get tired of it, but I haven't played enough to really find that out. Next one, I'm showing you the box, but actually all of my plays recently have been using the app. The app is a great way to learn how to play this game, and that is Mythic Mischief. Mythic Mischief is it plays very chess-like, but I think it's a little more in depth than chess because you're kind of programming the moves in a way, because you're getting these cubes that are tomes, and they fill up the card depending on where you put them, and where you put them determines how many action points you have for that particular move. And there are different factions. So the faction you play, like say I play the zombies, are going to play different than the vampires or the trolls or the werewolves. And it's just got a lot of replayability, a lot of thinky, crunchy moves that I just love. And I played a lot with my son. I've got a pretty good record against him, but I'd like to play more at the table, and I think I'd like to try and play some more rated games against other people on the app. So Mythic Mischief is definitely a huge favorite of mine. We did play a game of Radlands, in which I conversely have a losing record against my son on Radlands. He is a very, very good hand management deck builder type player, and he's just a natural at Radlands. Either that or I really suck. So Radlands is a great lane battler where you're trying to destroy your opponent's bases, but they're protecting it with characters and events, and while you're doing the same thing. And these different bases have different abilities, and these different characters have different abilities. And sometimes you can play a character, instead of playing the character, you'd be playing it face down in certain situations. And those are called punks, which they're basically just raw shields. They get hit once and they're destroyed. Whereas other ones, you'd have to hit them twice depending on what you're hitting them with. But it's a great little game, but I definitely have a disadvantage when it comes to playing my son at this. So I've got him at Mythic Mischief. He's got me at Radlands. Okay. All right. This is a huge box, but it hits the table probably most of the time out of all of my games. And that's the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And I have the Colossal edition up here, but this is just the regular box that you can bring anywhere. Yeah, this is a huge box actually. It's got this satisfying feel because in it you're building the layout of a castle, and each room has its own scoring requirements. It wants to be placed next to a certain other type of room, or some rooms don't want to be placed next to another type of room. And there's set collection and secret objectives and things like that. And it's just wonderful. I'm meaning to do a segment on board games and expansions. But let me just say this now. This game, we've integrated 2 or 3 expansions into it, no problem. The expansions in this are seamless, and it works out very well, and it's a great game for a family. It's not too light, and it's not overly crunchy. It's another game that I'm horrible at. And last game, I thought I was doing so well. End up second to last. It was just not good. So not only am I not good at it, I don't even know that I'm not good at it. So anyway, next game. This game we didn't finish. So, but I'm counting it anyway because it did make it to the table, and we did get kind of far into it before we just had to abandon it because, well, life happens and it was time to get going on something else. It is Septima. Septima by Mind Clash Games. Yeah. We still have only played the basic version. We haven't played the more advanced one with the rituals board. I'd like to play that next, but it hasn't hit the table enough for us to remember how to do some things. But I think it's hit the table enough now that adding the rituals board in would be a natural extension of where we're at. So I'd like to see how this goes. It's a little bit of pick up and deliver, resource management, private scoring objectives, and yeah, that's as far as we've gotten into it, and a little bit of bag building because you're trying to recruit witches into your coven from these trials, and you can only get them out of getting exiled if the trial pulls enough good jurors out than bad jurors, and you can contribute jurors. Anybody can, and whoever has the most jurors in one that you win gets a witch into your coven, which gives you extra abilities. So anyway, it's a good game. My daughter really likes it, and it's one I'd like to table more. So put that right there. Oh, this one. Maybe I should save it for last. Yeah, I think I will. This one is a new game to me. We've played it this year before the summer, but we played it a few times during the summer, and that is Cascadia. Cascadia is a nice little tile laying, point scoring thing where it's kind of like you have to pick a tile and an animal. They're paired up, and unless you use a certain ability, you can't mix and match, and you have to try and hook up different critters in ways that the scoring objectives that are common tell you. And it's that's a very short, inadequate description of this game, but it is such a good game. I think it's easy to table, easy to learn, and it's got some good decision making involved in it. So, Cascadia. Okay, we played a 4-player game of Azul. Azul is a great tile laying game. It's very simple to learn, and it's so much fun. I don't understand why it doesn't make it to the table more often, because it's very easy to set up, very easy to learn, and very, very easy to play. But it's a great game. I still kind of covet the Master Chocolatier version, which is exactly like this base game. The Azul is given uh, rise to a series of games that draw on the Azul name, but the basic, the original Azul plays the same way as the Master Chocolatier version. Only the little circles that you pull the tiles off of have can play with different abilities off of those. So I would like to try those just to see what they're like, and I think it gives it a little bit more replayability, more variability. But it's a great game as it is, and I think it's a great game to have in any collection. So Azul. Oh, I played a game of Skyrise by Roxley Games, and it gave it my family. We played it before, but the second time we played it, it really kind of kicked in. I think a lot of my family members like it now, but it immediately said, "Oh, I like this better than Foundations of Rome." And I was like, "Okay, that's great that you like it better than Foundations of Rome. I have no problem with that, but why that comparison? They don't play the same. They're totally different games." And that's I mean that's fine, but it almost made it, the way they put it, it was like they were comparing the the two games like they had similarities. And other than the fact that you play with buildings, I think that's where the similarities end. This is an area control auction set collection type game that is it's really kind of clever. The auction mechanism is such that when you bid on an area, you place a building down upside down with a number on it. And the next person can choose to challenge that bid, but by challenging, they have to bid on a separate area adjacent to the one you just chose. So they're not bidding on the area you just got or that you just bid for. They're bidding on the area next to it with a different token on it. All these areas have tokens on it, and you collect them. That affects your point scoring at the end of the game. And there's secret objectives, there's public objectives, but the mechanism in this is very clever. I'd like to get this to the table more often, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it because my family wants to play it again. So, okay, we are down to, let's see, six. Okay, next is Santorini. I love getting Santorini out. It is so pleasant. It's a very wonderfully done rendition of the game. This is the Pantheon collection. It's got a really great premise. You can learn the game in a matter of minutes and takes a lifetime to master. It's deep in strategy. Your goal is to build these buildings up and get your worker on the top of the third level before your opponent does, and that's the base game. If you play with the what they call the god powers, each player has a god card, and each god has different abilities such that it changes the rules of the game and consequently the objectives sometimes. And it's just a great game. It's an abstract game that I really enjoy, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that sometimes abstracts just don't stay in my desire to play very long. I think Santorini will, because it's got a lot of replayability with the god powers, such that I have a hard time thinking I could get bored with it easily. So, okay, these are really stacking up. I did play a game of Tack with my middle daughter. We didn't get to finish it though, so that's why I probably didn't get it down. But Tack is another abstract game that it's very clever and very simple, but again hard to master. So it's uh, it's actually been hard to find lately. I found this secondhand that it had never been played, so I was really kind of lucky. But if you find it, I recommend picking up a copy. I didn't really tell you a lot about that, but you're basically using these pieces to um, make a path from one side of the board to the opposite side of the board. So it could go forward or backward or side to side. And you can lay them down, you can stack them, you can move stacks, you can stand them up such that it blocks you or blocks your opponent. And then you've got these pieces that look like pawns. They're called capstones that count as part of your road, but can flatten walls, and you can't stack on top of them. So it's a great, very clever little game that I'm glad I was able to find a copy of. I actually got it from my dad, and this is his copy, but I asked if I could borrow it, and I need to get it back to him. Okay, we played this game like a couple of times, and that is Veiled Fate. This is the Tribunal expansion box. We played it a couple of times, and it is so much fun. The more I play it, the more I like it. It is everything social deduction should be. Everybody's given a role of a demigod, and you keep it secret. There's no asymmetric powers on that. Maybe that could be a very interesting twist. I think it might be hard to implement, but that might be something that would be interesting. And maybe I haven't looked into all the expansions. Maybe there's something like that, but I don't think there is. But your goal is to get the most renown by the end of the game so that you will win. But with the Tribunal expansion, there's a module in there called the Hadria expansion. Hadria is a non-playable character that gains and loses renown based on actions that you do during the game. And if you end the game with more renown than her, you're out of the game. You lose. So you want to gain as much renown as you can, but not too much. And the last game we played, I won because part of the reason is I was making it look like I was somebody else. Well, that other character that I was saying that I was somebody else, and I pushed that character like way beyond where Hadria was, and there's just no way they could keep it up. And anyway, so I kind of knocked somebody out of competition while quietly moving my character up. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and I want to investigate this game much more in the days, weeks, and months to come, because it's something that a lot of people can play, and it has a lot of interaction. And I love these games. Ivy Studios seems to have a mindset of having games where it's not multiplayer solitaire. It's a lot of player interaction where you're talking to the people around you. You're actually interacting, and isn't that what games should be? So anyway, Veiled Fate. Can't recommend this enough. It's so much fun. New game to the collection. I got it a while ago, but I hadn't unboxed it. It's out of print. So if you see it, you're probably looking at about $80 to get it. and we played it 2 or 3 times just in the course of like a month. It is a lot of fun, and it is filled, just like Veiled Fate, it is filled with player interaction, and that is Chinatown. Chinatown has been reprinted under a different name and a different theme. It's called Waterfall Park, but it is almost universally panned because the theme is so lame. It doesn't even make sense in the context of the game. The mechanisms are all the same, but it just doesn't draw you in. In Chinatown, you are getting plots of land, or what they call buildings, in a draw, and you decide which ones you're going to keep, and then you discard the others to get put back into the deck. And then you get certain tiles blind for businesses, and these businesses score based on how many or how big you make the business. They're like a tea shop. The maximum you can make it is 3 tiles. And if you have those 3 tiles next to each other in an orthogonal connection, you can score them for more points. And the whole, once you get those things and the round starts, everything is up for grabs. You can trade the tiles, you can trade the buildings, you can trade money, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. And it is just so much fun. It, I will say this: if you want to make it a better game, you should probably put a time limit on how much time there is to make trades, because it can get longer than it probably should. But this game is so much fun. Keep your eyes open for it on the secondhand market, Facebook Marketplace, whatever your local online trading spot is. But I have seen it come up even since I got this. I got this secondhand, but it was still in shrink wrap, so it hadn't been punched or anything. So I was really lucky. But it is a lot of fun, and this is going to be hitting the table a lot. Okay, last 2. Let's get this one. It's a little bit farther back here. I played this 2-player with my son, and it was really close. It's Carson City. We just played the base game, and we played it, like I said, as a 2-player game. I think it would play much better with more players, because then the worker placement spots are in greater demand, and the mechanisms come into play more, because there's dueling in a lot of these places. If you buy land and somebody else wants to buy the same thing, you end up dueling, and then it's a matter of how much firepower you have, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a great game by Quinid Games, and Xavier George is a great designer. I've got a couple of games by him, and it's something that I really, really enjoy. I want to get it to the table with more players. Okay, next we played this game a couple of times as well, and it's so much fun. It really draws you into the theme, and that is Thunder Road Vendetta. Trying to get the glare off the screen from the lighting. Thunder Road Vendetta is a racing game that it's like Mad Max and Death Race 2000 and all these things, where you are trying to be the last man standing and getting to the end of the track, and you blow up other players, you hit road obstacles, you get thrown off the road, there's just so much that is there. We've just played the base game. We haven't instituted any of the expansions really, and it's a blast. I really like this game. So Thunder Road Vendetta, this is the Maximum Chrome edition. You don't need that. I got it because I was interested in playing the expansions sooner or later. But if you want to try this game, you can get the base game for a lot less than what I paid for this. So Thunder Road Vendetta, definitely hitting the table more often. And the last one. Oof. Oh, I just realized it's not the last one. I forgot. I just played. Please don't let anything drop. There we go. I just played this with my brother and sister-in-law, and that's Wingspan. And we played a couple of games. The last one I'm going to bring up, we also played with them. This one really clicked with them. My brother-in-law really got into the strategy and beat us all by 20 points. First time playing. And it was a really good game. It's a lot of people probably, if you haven't played it, it might be intimidating because it plays in ways that you may not have played a game before, but it's not that hard to learn. It's something that's very easy, especially the newer versions have what they call a swift start pack that basically choreograph the first 4 or 5 moves of the game. So it's a great game to play for a family, easy to get to the table, easy to learn. And I think that my in-laws want to play it again. So Wingspan, boy, I did not realize that I played this many games over the summer. Last one is a game that my sister-in-law played, and she beat us just handily, like 30 or 40 points. She, in the middle of it, literally just said, I love this game. And it's a crunchier game than probably anything they've played before. And it happens to be my number one game, and that is Obsession. The more I've thought about Obsession, the more I realize how lucky we are to have a game that somebody made on their freshman effort. Dan Halligan managed to incorporate tableau building, hand management, rondel. That's what I'm calling what you do with the servants. Because when you use servants, you have to put them in expended service and you have to wait until they can get back into play. So I don't know what you'd call it other than a rondel. And objectives in a way that the theme just completely adopts and absorbs you in it. Obsession is a gem, and I'm so glad I have it. I've played this year with the Upstairs Downstairs expansion for the first time, and I really like it, but we haven't introduced it to the in-laws because it was the first game. And when I suggested we play it that way, he said, no, I'm out on that one because it sounded more complicated to them. But I think after a few more plays of it, base game, I will probably introduce them to the Upstairs Downstairs because I think it's really good. And then ultimately the characters expansion. So anyway, that is the summer repertoire of games that we played in the house. And I was really lucky that I had people that wanted to play them because we had a great time. So that's all I have for today. Please remember to like and subscribe, hit the notification button, comment below, tell me what games you played over the summer, and we'll see you next time. Until then, it's game over.